Oh.
Good morning, my name is Rachel Kiggell and I'm here to discuss the importance of healthy eating for both everyday life and work productivity. Having been diagnosed with IBS at a young age, I've always had an appreciation for healthy eating. However, after completing my BCom Law in 2020, I began studying my LLB in 2021 and fell into the habit of working 24/7 and paying little attention to my overall health. After many tears, sleepless nights, and poor dietary choices, I realized that sacrificing my health for work was unsustainable and that my time would be better spent sharing this message with others. I'm now studying my honors in HR as well as health coaching with an ultimate goal of improving employee wellness, which brings me to our discussion today. We're going to begin by discussing the importance of healthy eating with an emphasis on productivity. We'll then examine the most basic healthy eating principles and the functions of each food group before discussing meal prep and a couple extra healthy eating habits. Before I share my advice on healthy eating principles, I'd like to highlight that my purpose here is to help you achieve optimal health, not weight loss. Somehow society has confused health with weight, and while in some circumstances the two do overlap, and there is generally nothing wrong with a weight loss goal, the average individual needs to stop focusing solely on their weight, often at the expense of their health, and begin to prioritize their health instead. And so the knowledge I share with you today does not promise quick weight loss, but rather sustainable health from the inside out. And what is healthy and sustainable is balance. Many of us, myself included, have made a commitment to eating healthy forever and never touching anything bad. Or we followed every diet under the sun, keto, low calorie, paleo, you name it. Or we followed numerous fad health trends, skinny tea, apple cider vinegar, or celery juice. Or every Monday, New Year, or new month, we decide to start a new diet, but find ourselves failing 3 days in. Often such trends and diets lead to eventual binging, guilt around food, or even disordered eating. Furthermore, 95% of such diets result in the individual regaining any weight they lose, and 2/3 of such individuals ultimately gaining more weight than they had before, and inevitably becoming less healthy than they were originally. The approach that instead resonates with me most as a future health coach, and having tried all the various diets myself, is an 80-20 approach, in which 80% of our food is healthy and 20% a little less healthy. Eating like this means nourishing our bodies and prioritizing our health, but still living life without deprivation. And if 80-20 sounds steep, start with 50-50 and work your way up little by little. One of my favorite quotes that has inspired my own health journey is to meet yourself where you're at. So with all the advice I give today, meet yourself where you're at and start with small but easy changes. So why eat healthy? What's the point? We've all heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And honestly, there is some truth in this. In 2021, the World Health Organization reported that 71% of deaths annually are caused by non-communicable diseases, meaning diseases caused by genetic, physiological, environmental, or behavioral factors. These include cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer, often caused by smoking, excess alcohol, poor diets, and lack of exercise. Thus, in simply prioritizing your own health, as well as the health of those around you, you can prolong your life and the life of others. Furthermore, how we eat not only enables us to live longer, but also impacts our daily health too. When we eat well, we have better energy and are therefore more productive throughout the day. If we eat refined carbohydrates and highly processed foods, we experience a spike in our blood sugar levels and then a sudden drop, giving us a quick energy boost and then sudden decline. When we eat whole grain, unprocessed foods, however, our blood sugar steadily increases and slowly decreases, resulting in sustained energy throughout the day. This in turn leads to better focus and better productivity. Furthermore, scientists now suggest that we have what they call a gut-brain axis, which indicates that our gut and brain are in constant communication, and thus a healthy, well-functioning gut leads in turn to a healthy, well-functioning brain. This suggests that if you'd like to increase either your own productivity or that of your employees, the best place to start is with healthy, nourishing meals. This may mean including these meals either in your own diet or ensuring that these meals are available within the office. Additionally, 70% of our immune system resides within the gut, and so the healthier you eat, the healthier your immune system. This results in fewer sick days, and from a business perspective, lower absenteeism. research in 2014 found that 15% of South African employees are absent from work daily, and that absenteeism costs the South African economy roughly 16 billion rand annually. This is expected to have increased since COVID, and so it has become more important than ever that we take care of our own health as well as that of our employees. And finally, when we consume the requisite vitamins and minerals, not only do we feel better, but we have stronger bones and muscles too, making daily movement less painful. As a lot of corporate jobs require one to sit at their desk for up to 9 hours, 5 days a week, strengthening our bones and muscles through the food we eat is essential. And ultimately, it is vital that healthy foods are made readily available to those working in such a corporate environment. So you know now why you should eat healthy, but how do you do it? My job today is to share with you what this healthy diet looks like. You may think that you're too busy to follow a healthy lifestyle, but I'm here to prove otherwise. Let's start with the balanced plate. The most basic principle that you should understand is that of the balanced plate. The balanced plate suggests that every meal and snack you consume should comprise of 50% fruit and non-starchy vegetables, 25% protein, and 25% whole grain carbohydrates or starchy vegetables, with a little bit of fat alongside. This is my favorite principle because it can be followed in whatever situation you find yourself, be it cooking meals at home or eating out at a restaurant or cafeteria. If you only take one thing away from this talk, let it be the balanced plate. It's worth noting, however, that this is the benchmark to eating well. So if you're currently not eating any fruit or vegetables, don't suddenly change your diet to include 50% fruit and vegetables. Rather begin to include just 1 spoon of veg onto your plate for a week and slowly build up to this balanced plate. Let's now discuss each of these in a little bit more depth. Most of us know that we should consume 3 to 5 servings of fruit and vegetables daily, but experts have recently discovered that we should in fact eat up to 10 servings of fruit and vegetables daily, and that what is just as important is that we consume a variety of fruit and vegetables, as each has different nutrients which nourish our gut bacteria. It is now recommended that we eat 30 different plant fibers per week. This may sound like an overwhelming number, but beyond all fruit and vegetables, it also includes whole grains, beans and pulses, seeds, herbs, and spices. So in reality, a simple curry could include up to 10 of these sources. My top tips to increase the number of plants you eat are to add mixed seeds to salads, porridges, stews, etc. It's such a simple way to increase your variety without truly affecting the taste of these dishes. Add a new fruit or vegetable to your diet each week. If you generally have peas with your dinner, next time choose peas, carrots, and the next time choose peas, carrots, and corn. This is an easy way to increase your variety while also experimenting with new ingredients. Grate vegetables such as carrots and zucchini into curries, minces, and stews. This will enhance the flavor of the meal while also incorporating vegetables into it. Don't fear frozen fruit and vegetables. Frozen fruit and veg are a cheap and convenient way to increase your fiber intake and are no less nutritious than their fresh counterparts. Because they are not as affected by shelf life and long travel journeys, they can in fact be more fresh than fresh fruit and vegetables. Practice cooking with different vegetables. When cooked and seasoned well, vegetables can truly be delicious and at times be the star of the dish, not just a side dish. Buy pre-chopped vegetables. If you can afford the extra cost, then it's definitely worth it, as it makes your cooking process much quicker. And let's face it, after a long day at work, the quicker the cooking, the better. Hide vegetables into dishes. My favorite is steamed cauliflower, hidden in white sauce. Honestly, you can't even taste the cauliflower. I'd also like to note, though, that as you increase your fiber intake, you need to simultaneously increase your water intake, as fiber absorbs water as it transitions through our gut. And as such, a sudden increase in fiber could result in diarrhea or constipation. So every time you try a new plant fiber, simply have a glass of water alongside it, aiming for around 2 liters of water daily. So I said that 50% of your plate should comprise fruit and non-starchy vegetables, with the other 25% being whole grain carbohydrates or starchy vegetables. What does this mean? The percentage of carbohydrate present in non-starchy vegetables is much lower than that in starchy vegetables, and as such, non-starchy vegetables are broken down slowly in our gut, causing a lesser spike in your blood sugar levels. This may sound like a complicated caveat to the balanced plate, but all you really need to know is that starchy vegetables include peas, corn, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. All other vegetables are considered non-starchy. And what about fruit? Fruit is good for you. There's a popular misconception that because fruit has sugar, it's not healthy, but this is incorrect, as fruit is packed with vital vital vitamins and minerals essential to daily health. Fruit does contain fructose. However, because it is packed with fiber, fructose is not harmful. As somebody with a sweet tooth, fruits are my favorite snack and an easy way to get a little healthy sugar into my blood when I need it. What should be limited, however, is your intake of fruit juice, as when fruit is juiced, all the fiber is removed and only the sugar remains. So while the occasional fruit juice can definitely be part of a healthy diet, it is worth noting that it in itself is not necessarily the healthiest option. What about dried fruit? Dried fruit is high in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and at times a more convenient way to consume fruit on the go. It is, however, a more concentrated form of fructose than fresh fruit, and so the recommended serving sizes are a little lower. The average serving size of fresh fruit is about half a cup, while the serving size of dried fruit is a quarter of a cup. So although I definitely recommend consuming dried fruit as a convenient, healthy snack, just be mindful of your portion sizes. Let's move on to carbohydrates. Carbs are not the devil they're made out to be. They are in fact the body's preferred source of energy and contain many essential nutrients. They should therefore be consumed at every single meal. What should be limited, however, is your intake of refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, white rice, white pasta, cakes, and cookies. These carbs have a high glycemic index, and as mentioned above, cause your blood sugar to spike before suddenly dropping, giving you an energy high and then sudden low. The carbohydrates which should be consumed regularly are the whole grain carbohydrates, which have a low glycemic index. These carbs give you sustained energy and feed your gut bacteria. They include whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, durum wheat pasta, and basmati rice. The simplest way to distinguish between high GI and low GI carbs are that brown and seeded carbs are generally good for you, while white carbs are often a little less good. So if you're ever in a rush and stop to buy a quick lunch at the garage, opt for the brown bread sandwich or bulgur wheat salad over the chicken pie. Onto protein. Protein supports all our body cells, muscles, bones, skin, and nails, and makes up our enzymes, hormones, and antibodies. Proteins are made up of amino acids, most of which are produced in our body. However, 9 particular amino acids are found exclusively in our diets. Protein should be consumed at every meal and at an even distribution throughout the day, not only at dinner, as many of us do. It can be found in both plant and animal sources, and I'll discuss each separately. Protein is found in all animal sources, and as such, animals have historically been the preferred source for protein. White meat, such as chicken and fish, is low in saturated fat and can be consumed daily if desired. When purchasing red meat, opt for extra lean to lean cuts and consume it only once or twice a week, as it is high in saturated fat, which may lead to poor heart health. Processed meats such as ham and bacon should also be limited due to their high salt and trans fat content. Protein is also found in a number of plant sources, such as beans and legumes, and it is possible to meet your protein requirements when following a plant-based diet. It is recommended, however, to take a vitamin B12 supplement and to monitor your iron, calcium, and omega-3 intake if following a purely plant-based diet, as these are found predominantly in animal sources. Furthermore, it is recommended that if you have no animal source of protein in your meal, that you always combine different sources of plant protein in order to absorb all 9 essential amino acids. For example, have a salad with black beans and chickpeas, or a curry with rice and lentils. Alternatively, opt for soy products such as tofu or edamame beans, as soy itself does contain 9 essential amino acids. Protein should comprise 25% of each of your meals, and if you do eat animal sources, it is most beneficial to include both animal and plant proteins in your diet to ensure you're not deficient in any necessary vitamins or minerals. We do, however, often serve bigger portions of protein than necessary, particularly when serving meat. So when serving protein at a meal, aim for an amount equal to the size of your palm, as this will provide the requisite vitamins and minerals. Fats are essential for energy, cell growth, absorption of nutrients, and keeping your cholesterol and blood pressure at bay. Plus, they're great for satiety, ensuring we feel more satisfied with our meal. Recent studies have also found that consuming fat with the meal slows down the rate at which sugar is released into your bloodstream and increases the vitamin and mineral absorption. While the recommended portion sizes of fats are relatively low, they should be consumed at every meal and snack. The fats to prioritize are unsaturated fats such as extra virgin olive oil, nuts, and avocados. The fats to limit include margarine and canola oil. When deciding which fats to purchase, check the nutrition label and ideally choose the foods with less than 5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams. That brings us on to dairy. In the past, health professionals have advocated choosing low-fat dairy because it is relatively high in saturated fat, i.e. the bad fat. However, recent studies have found that the saturated fat present in dairy responds differently to how it does in other products, and that full-fat dairy is richer in vitamins than low-fat or fat-free dairy. However, because these studies are still emerging, my advice is simply to choose the dairy that you most enjoy. So I really don't want to come here and take anything away from your diet, because in both my studies and my experience, health is truly about what you add to your diet, not what you take away. However, in discussing health, I do have to touch on caffeine and alcohol and why we should limit, not remove, but limit our intake of these drinks. Let's start with caffeine. Caffeine is not inherently bad for you. It is an easy way to increase your energy levels and improve alertness. Plus, it's tasty and a part of daily life. However, recent studies have found that caffeine has, on average, a 6-hour half-life. This means that if you have a cup of coffee containing 100 milligrams of caffeine at 4 p.m., at 10 p.m. that night, there is still 50 milligrams of caffeine inside you. This consequently leads to poor sleep. And you may respond with, well, I can have a coffee right before bed and still fall straight asleep. And while that may be the case, what is still being affected is your sleep quality. And poor sleep quality results in low energy and, again, low productivity. So my advice is to enjoy your coffee with the daily caffeine recommendation for the average adult being up to 4 cups of coffee or 8 cups of caffeinated tea daily, but try to eliminate it as early as possible. It is recommended that you avoid caffeine afternoon, but if this seems ridiculous, at least try to cut it out a couple of hours before going to bed. If you love the taste of tea or coffee, simply opt for decaf versions of these drinks in the afternoon. And if possible, try them with a little less milk and sugar. I do just want to note that caffeine withdrawal is 100% real, causing headaches, nausea, and poor concentration. And so as with anything, start small. Don't cut out caffeine in one go. Rather swap it out 1 cup at a time. Now for alcohol. We've all heard that a glass of red wine is good for us. And it's true, in moderation, red wine has been associated with better heart health. However, in excess, alcohol leads to many health issues, such as liver cirrhosis, high blood pressure, heart disease, or even depression. And it is therefore vital that you consume it in moderation. So what does moderation mean? It is advised that men consume no more than 2 alcoholic drinks daily, and women no more than 1 alcoholic drink daily. Many experts consider even this advice to be a little high, and ultimately, I'd advise against consuming alcohol every day, but a little bit each week is all right. Furthermore, when having alcohol, opt for lower sugar drinks. While the occasional cocktail is perfectly acceptable, the high sugar content and mix in spirits means it's not considered an alcoholic drink that should be consumed regularly. Ultimately, if you like to drink alcohol and you're not dependent on it to feel better, then go ahead and enjoy it moderately, but remain cautious, as it is addictive and with time, its costs do outweigh its benefits. Another one of my favorite quotes is don't drink to feel better, only drink to feel even better, which ultimately implies that we shouldn't rely on alcohol when we're feeling down, but a little bit when you're feeling all good is perfectly acceptable. So now that you know these healthy eating principles, how can you incorporate them into your own lives? Let's start with meal prep. Meal prep may sound like a daunting, time-consuming task, but it is in reality a quick and easy way to save time while still enjoying healthy, nourishing meals. So what is meal prep? Meal prep comes in many different forms, but essentially it is the act of preparing either meals or ingredients prior to needing them, so that when you need a healthy meal, you don't need to spend hours creating one. You can meal prep whenever suits you best. For many, it's a Sunday afternoon, and for others, it's the day they go grocery shopping. There are 3 popular ways to meal prep. First, once or twice a week, you could make a couple of meals, divide them into the number of portions you may need the next few days, and store them as such. Then, when you need a meal, you just whip one out and you're good to go. Good meals to prep include pasta dishes, curries, stews, or overnight oats. Alternatively, you could prepare a number of ingredients, such as roast vegetables, chicken breasts, boiled eggs, and whole wheat couscous, and store these ingredients in bulk. Then, when you need a meal, you simply take out the ingredients you'd like and prepare it. Lastly, anytime you cook, you could prepare more than you need, freeze or refrigerate the leftovers, and enjoy whenever. This works perfectly for mince or curries, which often taste better the next day. Ultimately, the idea behind each of these is that if you have your meals or ingredients prepared beforehand, then when you're in a rush, you won't rely on fast food, but instead can simply fetch a healthy meal from your fridge or freezer, saving you health, time, and money. My brother is paramedic and as such works long hours many days a week and used to live off of fast food. I've spent much of my time encouraging him to prioritize his health and have faced a lot of reluctance therein. But after suggesting he try meal prep and spend a little time each week cooking, I've become his favorite sister. He now meal preps at the start of each week, and not only has his health and energy improved, but he has saved so much money, as we all know convenience food comes at a high cost. Furthermore, through meal prep, he lost 5 kilos. And while you know I do not necessarily equate health with weight loss, his personal goal was to lose weight. And I think this is worth noting to simply highlight the effects of merely cooking one's own food. So if you've been wanting to meal prep, but haven't yet taken the plunge, this is your sign to start now. How many of you make school lunches for your children each day, but not yourself, with the intention of just grabbing something at work? This tip is short and sweet, but ultimately, my point is to stop relying on the business cafeteria, or worse, vending machine for lunch, and simply take a pre-made meal and healthy snacks with you to work. Like my brother in the example before, not only will your health improve, but so will your bank balance. Mindful eating means being mentally present with the food you consume by tuning in to each of your 5 senses. The purpose therein is to connect with your food, enjoy it fully, and honor your cues of fullness. Many of us feel that we're too busy to sit down and simply enjoy a meal, and as such, choose to eat on our phones, in front of our TV or laptops. But these distractions prevent us from genuinely enjoying and understanding how our food is serving us, be it emotionally or physically. As such, we shovel down the food without truly appreciating it and find ourselves hungry within a short period of time. When we eat mindfully, however, we're able to truly enjoy the food we eat and recognize when it's time to stop. I know we all lead busy lives, and in all honesty, I eat breakfast most mornings while scrolling through Instagram, so I'm still working on this myself. But I've spent time ensuring I eat my lunches and dinners without such distractions, and have truly experienced the benefits firsthand. So I challenge you as busy business professionals to eat at least 1 meal per day for the next week without any distractions and discover how much better your eating experience becomes. Alternatively, prioritize eating with friends or family. This not only makes your eating experience more enjoyable, but encourages you to slow down and taste your food. Raise your hand if you've ever worked through lunch or skipped a meal because you're too busy to eat. And then when you do finally eat, you're so starving that you finish your meal within 0.7 seconds. So many business professionals find their lunch hour to be a good time to catch up on emails or finalize a project. But I'm here to tell you to utilize your lunch hour because it is there for a reason. When we do not eat, our blood sugar levels drop, and so too do our energy levels, causing an eventual decrease in productivity. Furthermore, when we skip meals and enter our next meal starving, we often eat more than we need and fail to enjoy the benefits of that meal. So if you have the option to take even a 10-minute lunch break, do it. Not only will you feel better physically, but you will be more productive and your brain can function optimally. This goes for working both at the office and at home. On top of that, we show you eating at least 3 solid meals daily, with a couple of snacks in between if you're still hungry. On that note, while there's nothing wrong with a couple of snacks throughout the day, opt for healthy snacks and ensure you're snacking because you're hungry, not bored. To do so, simply ask yourself, why am I choosing this snack? How will it benefit me? It's okay to occasionally eat out of boredom or because we're feeling sad. But if you're doing this regularly, just check in with yourself and see how you could better serve yourself in that situation. A couple of healthy snacks that would serve you better than chips or chocolate include mixed nuts, opt for mixed for variety, biltong, fruit, or unsweetened yogurt. My advice is to keep these healthy snacks on hand wherever you go. This way, you'll never find yourself at mercy to the vending machine. What about breakfast? Some people love it, some hate it. Studies have found that those who consume breakfast do tend to have better health markers. So if you enjoy eating breakfast, then great, keep it up. But ensure you're following the balanced plate approach. And if you only have time for cereal, aim for whole grain cereal, such as whole grain oat Cheerios, and enjoy some fruit on the side. For those who dislike eating first thing in the morning, however, the evidence is not so overwhelming that you should force yourself to eat, as food rarely should be enjoyed. Simply eat when you do feel hungry, and again, follow the balanced plate approach. My final point for today is to spend some time grocery shopping. Instead of rushing through the grocery store and grabbing the items you always buy, Take a little time to look at the variety available and choose something a little different. Now, obviously, this takes time, and so I don't suggest you do it every time you shop, but try it out occasionally to ensure you're choosing the best the shop has to offer. And if this still sounds daunting, you can even do it online. Almost all grocery stores have apps now, meaning you can browse the shop from the comfort of your bed if necessary. There are certain items I buy to make cooking 10 times quicker, and I recommend everyone try these. These include pre-cooked rice, pre-made curry packs, pre-chopped vegetables, even onions, and pre-made stir-fry sauces. Some of these may have a higher salt content than desired, but they're better than the alternative McDonald's drive-thru when you're not up to cooking. I want to end by encouraging you to discover why you specifically may want to improve your health. A lot of us know that we want to be healthier, but understanding your unique desire will enable you to envision what health means to you. It might be so that you can move around freely, or so that you can focus better. Maybe it's so that you can play in the garden with your children and be there to see them grow up. Maybe it's to prevent long-term diseases, or alternatively, to feel less sick on the daily. And maybe it is simply that you'd like to lose weight. And while there's nothing wrong with that, dig deep and think why you'd like to lose weight. Is it so that your clothes fit better, or so that you feel lighter on your feet? Understanding why you specifically would like to be healthier removes the burden of feeling forced to eat well. And once you've discovered your why, create a plan of action. We're all unique and require unique changes to improve our health. So we're all unique and require unique changes to improve our health. So with everything you've learned today, carve some time in your day or week to decide which changes you personally would like to make. I hope I haven't overwhelmed you this morning with all this information, but rather that I've inspired you to prioritize both your health and that of your employees, and that you leave today ready to implement some healthy eating habits into both your life as well as the office where possible. And as you do, remember to meet yourself where you're at and start by making small, sustainable changes. Thank you.
Cool. So, I mean, and things like FitChef?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't work?
Food for you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. There's different options, like as long as you don't get you choose the healthy options, and yeah, because some of those can be like keto, kind of very high fat. But I'll look into that. Thank you.
Are there any comments from the? Any questions? There we go. Are there any questions from the audience that we can field on this side? Renee says PMP has a cool 100 Rand for 4 promotion that's got some interesting options, including things such as dragon fruit and granadillas. Awesome, thank you. Any other questions from the audience that you'd like to pose to Rachel from your side?
I have a question. So for me, what I find challenging to stay healthy, so to stick on the healthy train, is that for me, cooking is therapeutic, spending time in the kitchen. And then I find myself wanting to do things more indulgent, like baking or making like a really unhealthy lasagna. Because I mean, who wants to spend 2 hours in the kitchen cooking chicken breasts and vegetables, you know? And for me, like after a really busy day at work, the last thing I want to do is go and have chicken breasts and veg. I want to go home and cook like a really hearty lasagna or a really hearty pasta, or like, you know, something super comforting. What is your suggestion into that?
I think like that's really good, and I think food should be enjoyed. So if you want lasagna, you have lasagna, and if you want pasta, you have pasta. But there's like little things you can do to still enjoy the lasagna while making it a bit healthier. Like you can hide vegetables in your mince with the lasagna, and like I said, hide cauliflower in the white sauce. So in your mince, it's like a mix between some beef and then even some lentils and some carrots and some celery, mushrooms. You can hide so many different vegetables in mince. And then if you're happy to go light on the cheese, otherwise indulge. I mean, it's okay as long as you're having all your vegetables on the side. Okay. Or inside it, and just be mindful of your portion size. So like I said, your protein is like the size of your hand, and then if you have a little bit of pasta in that with it, just don't go back for like seconds and thirds. Yeah. Kind of thing. Okay. And also things like you can have pasta and then get whole wheat pasta. Then it's a healthy carb that's not going to cause a spike in your blood sugar.
Okay.
Or like those spinach lasagna sheets where it's still pasta mixed with spinach, so it tastes like pasta, but you're getting some spinach as well. That's what I like.
Okay. What is your take on like vegan meats?
So there's a lot of like controversy because they're highly processed, and ideally we shouldn't be eating highly processed foods. But so that from a health perspective, they're not necessarily the healthiest option. And the only way I would recommend them is someone who's choosing to be vegan for ethical reasons, not health reasons per se. If you are choosing to be vegan for health reasons, you're not actually making the healthiest decision. And then with regards to like the different variety of vegan meats, there are some that are healthier than others. So just look for like salt that's less than 500 milligrams or saturated fat less than 5 grams per 100 grams. Because you can get different ones, and you get some really good ones that are actually made mostly from vegetables and a little bit of soy, and some that are super processed that you have no idea where they even come from. So just read the label there.
Online question that comes in: what's your go-to meal that's not chicken breasts and vegetables?
I like so it's a take, I'd say, on chicken breasts and vegetables, but I like a good stir fry. I literally just buy pre-cut stir fry veg, and you cook that, and you cook chicken slices and some soy sauce and mix it all together with some basmati rice and then some nuts on top as well for a little bit of crunch. And that's my favorite. And it's also so versatile. Like you can use different vegetables or different meat. You can use beef, pork, chicken, even tofu if you're vegetarian. I like that one most.
And then, I was looking at Nedbank. We used to work at Nedbank there in Sandton. They've got a cafeteria which has got everything from stir fries through to seafood, through to pizza, pancakes, whatever you want. And is there any evidence that suggests that businesses that feed their staff or provide a food allowance perform better than organizations who simply leave it to their staff to feed themselves?
So it's still emerging. I can't give you a definitive answer yet. The research that has been done it's been mostly with regards to nutrition on individuals, and it hasn't really been linked to business and nutrition. So that's what I'm hoping to discover more about this year. But looking at it from outside a business perspective, like healthy food can at times be more expensive, and we know as humans we go for the more convenient option. So if in the cafeteria there are healthy options, we know that the healthier you eat, the more productive you are. And so if you think about it with common sense, if the more convenient options are the healthier options, then employees will have those and be more productive.
Cool. I think that's it. Anything from you? Sam, you good?
I'm all good. Yeah.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a full house of questions. If there's anything else to come, I'll give you 30 seconds more to submit your question. Otherwise, we will wrap up. As discussed, there will be a playback facility, and we will share this with you and then share details of the next presentation that we're doing here at the Business Exchange in Rosebank. If any other questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we will wrap up from there. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. That's great. And that's a wrap for today. We will chat later in the day. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.